Chapter 21. I'm done changing the ship registration, Tyrell said over the communications link. Lady Darkseid is the proud captain of the Regicide One. She powered up the Mauler and began running system checks. That's not what I asked you to change it to. Why did you add the one? Callie grumbled. This way you can just update the number when you break it and have to register the next one. When I break it? Callie scoffed. That or upgrade, Tyrell laughed softly, but my money's on break. I landed on my own, Callie said proudly. Why are you running another check on the Mauler? Tyrell chuckled dryly. The first two didn't find any problems. I hit the wrong button, Callie blushed. How do I cancel it? Tyrell cancelled the scan from the ship's control room. I'm ready to head out now. Have they rescinded our invitation yet? Invitation, Tyrell snickered. I'm still not getting any response from the surface. Life signs are intermittent, so sure, we're still in the clear. I'm thinking Nadroke. Colony on Nairobi 5 may be a waste of time. There's a psionic amplifier in that tower, I'm going to take it or break it. Gowroon suggested I start my search here, Callie countered. Keep looking for any signs of that animal and the ship that attacked it. I don't think we're finding your animal. Space squid sounds a little far-fetched to me, Tyrell mocked. Are you sure it wasn't a fever dream? Nautiloid, Callie corrected. Just look for any traces of that ship. I don't care what you call it. That was days ago, Tyrell said irritably. If they were here, they're probably long gone by now. Our sensor array needs to be updated, but without knowing what I'm looking for, I wouldn't know where to start. Have we gotten any more updates on Shinji? Callie asked. Stop asking, Tyrell scolded. He recovered from that beatdown just fine. They still haven't found anyone that can remove the hardware from his head. The hospital staff have done 5 brain scans, and there's still no sign of anything living inside his skull. It's called a mind worm. I really don't care what you call it. If it is there, it's not showing on the scanners. Next time you ask, I'm going to record the answer and set it to play on an endless loop. Stop worrying about him and get moving before I send out the party planners. A party? Will they have cake? Stop stalling, Tyrell said angrily. Callie sighed. I've never actually driven this thing before. Can you guide me out from there? I can, but you really need to deal with those insecurities. How many times did we go over this? Tyrell grumbled. I just don't want to break it. Lady Darkseid. It's a tank. You're not going to break something. I'd be more worried about the shuttle. Just guide me out. You're the boss, Tyrell chuckled, but once the Mauler's outside, I'm going to make you take the stick. The Mauler backed out of the shuttle and started on its path toward the complex. I thought you were going to make me drive, Callie teased. I'm just getting you clear of the area. I don't trust you not to crash into our only shuttle because you're too busy daydreaming about a kid that doesn't have brains enough to not piss off the little pink screamer. Callie scowled. If Cyanide caught him calling her that, Callie would probably need to find a new cyberpath. It seemed a little unfair. She hadn't been that focused on Shinji. You do know I was making as much noise as she was. Tyrell didn't respond. The central spire of the communications complex loomed in the distance, just on the other side of craggy brown peaks. The 5th planet was sufficient for sustaining life, but just barely. It would take at least another decade before it would be ready for large-scale colonization. Shortly after the start of the war, the Alliance had deployed an Arc City Corps to assist with the evacuation of civilian refugees from nearby star systems. Ark Industries had been building vessels for the initial stages of terraforming and colonization since the days of Eldaron. The modern city core facilities could land and be converted into a fully functional city within 2 months' time. Due to intense atmospheric disturbances, they'd been unable to locate the city from orbit, but Alliance records had indicated it was positioned within a few miles of the central spire of the communication relay tower, which had been clearly visible on the ship scanners. Even now, she could see the main spire in the distance, towering high above the clouds. Callie was fairly confident the distant tower was the same one that had been used to lure the crystal-shelled nautiloid into their trap. "I'm still not seeing any activity on the surface," Tyrell observed. "I'm starting to wonder if there ever was a refugee colony down there. Your contacts may be wrong about this one. I didn't come out of retirement to go on some mad war hunt." "No, you came out of retirement because you wanted your own ship and your reputation restored," Callie chuckled. "How could I forget? You never shut up about it." "This isn't helping achieve either objective," he scoffed. "If you want me to record all of this, the least you could do is blow something up. Just a little action would be nice." "What do you want me to do, dance naked on the top of the Mauler?" "Well, I'm sure that would be fine for the Terran hybrids, and maybe a few perverted counter-hominids. I wouldn't want to clean up the digestive pyrotechnics you'd be causing with the rest of the viewers." "Do we have viewers?" "Not yet. I'm not dropping that Hacked Information Society uplink satellite until you do something worth watching. It's not a bad piece of equipment for a rental, but I'd rather not risk anyone intercepting the feed before we're ready. We have a few people popping in and out to check our GodNet feed, but I wouldn't count them as viewers. Most of them are probably just cyberpaths looking for remote links to piggyback on." The ship, rental communications microsatellites, shuttle, and Mauler had all been wired up to provide direct video and audio feeds. He'd even configured a mini AVN cloud like they use on the planet Ilianti. Through millions of nanites, all working together, it would provide 360 degrees video coverage around her at all times. While inactive, it was stored in a small pouch attached to her scabbard. They had an operating time limit of just over 2 hours, so they'd have to use it conservatively. The Mauler slowed as it lumbered to the top of one of the brown rocky spires. "I'm approaching relay point 1, Callie said. I'll be in position to drop the drone once this bucket of bolts gets to the top of this hill." "I spent almost 3 hours modifying that Mauler," Tyrell snarled. "Show a little respect." "Damn thing feels like it's going to rattle the teeth out of my skull." "At least you don't have to worry about the locals yet. There's still too much interference from that storm for the orbital scanners to give me a solid read on the colony. Just hurry up and get that transmitter positioned so I can get a reliable scan. We need to know what we're dealing with down there. Just keep in mind, they will detect the scan. If you really do have enemies down there, they'll be coming for you." "Let them come," Callie grinned, "if there are any left. Still going on about that fever dream you had while you were half dead under that tree?" As the Mauler finally reached the top of the craggy ridge, Callie stopped. She sat silently staring through the forward display. "Lady Darkseid?" She pushed the button that held the seatbelts in place in the center of her chest, walked over to the exterior hatch, spun the lock, and pushed the door open. "Lady Darkseid?" She walked over to the ridge and gazed down into what, from orbit, they had mistaken for a valley far below the fractured cliffside. "What's going on down there? Lady Darkseid?" Tyrell's voice yelled in her ear. "I'm blind up here. Are you under attack? Damn it, girl, say something." She stared across the vast chasm at a tall spire standing alone on a distant precipice. A cloud of noxious vapor hung in the air above her. Lightning flickered endlessly through the maelstrom in the sky above, and the shattered remains of a city were strewn against the cliffsides below. "Lady Darkseid? Please respond." I thought I could find a better path, she whispered. They called me Kivaza. It's all in the pronunciation. Edikoneg called me change, Sadakar called me destiny, but if the emphasis is on the first syllable, it means turmoil. Why did I let him call me Kiva? Lady Darkseed, Tyrell said over the communicator. Kivaza? What happened down there? The Alliance had built the city here. From the size of the ruins, I'm guessing a maximum population of around 10 million. They must have shielded the central spire of the intelligence complex and let everyone else die. Whatever they were attacked with fractured the surface of the planet. If this isn't what losing a war looks like, I don't know what does. I thought the Alliance bought their city core for Mark. They did, she insisted. Clearly, treaties aren't as binding as they used to be. Activate the AVN cloud, Tyrell said solemnly. Let's get some footage for broadcast. I'll drop that IS satellite now. I'll make sure as many people as possible bear witness to what happened here. Not yet. I'm going to set up your transmitter and get that scan started, Callie said. I want you to find out all you can about what happened here. She walked over to the mauler, opened a side panel, and carefully removed the portable transmitter array. Destroying an ARC ship is a direct violation of over 100 treaties. Military actions like this are strictly off the books, Tyrell explained. If we're lucky, we may be able to learn something from the intel base, but I'll need a direct access port. That's where you come in. Once you get inside, I'll walk you through it. Hurry up and get equipment set up. I need eyes down there. I'm working on it, Callie grumbled. She carried the transmitter to the ridge bordering the chasm, folded down the struts on each of its 5 corners, and locked them into place. It's locked in, Callie asked. What do I do now? Just hit the big blue button on the top and I'll take care of the rest from up here. That I can do, Callie chuckled. I'll just leave the rest of the technical voodoo to you. She pushed the button and waited for it to spring into action. It hummed and beeped a few times, but otherwise, nothing happened. I think it's broken, Callie said irritably. No, Tyrell said, it's working just fine. I should get the results of the first scan in a few seconds. You sounded so disappointed. I don't know what you expected. Did you want me to make it dance for you? It can do that? Of course not, he scoffed. It was a joke. Not a very good one, she scolded. I got excited for a minute. You owe me a dance. That wasn't part of our agreement, he snickered. Ask Pinky if you want a dance. I'm making it part of our agreement. From now on, all electronics are required to dance for me. I'll remember that next time I give the Muller a tune-up. On second thought. Tyrell began to laugh, but stopped abruptly. I'm guessing the scan results are in, solemnly. You guessed right, he said softly. It's worse than I expected. I don't understand how you can make jokes while looking at that kind of devastation. I felt them dying. Laughing is the only thing that's keeping me sane, Callie said with an exaggerated shrug. I've seen all kinds of things in my day, but never anything like this. I don't even know what sort of weapon they could have used. I'm having trouble getting a reading on the composition of that cloud. From up here it just looks like a storm, but these readings show something else entirely. What does it look like to you? Adjusting my eyes isn't an option, she sighed. There's far too much electricity bouncing around up there. I'm going to run a few more scans, he said. Just stay away from that cloud for now. I need to collect more data. There are rumors that the Information Society has a formidable stockpile of long-forgotten technologies. I suspect that ugly cloud is the aftereffect of one of their nasty little toys. If you're right, Callie said nervously, do you think they have more weapons like this? It wouldn't surprise me, but right now, I'm not sure what would. When the word gets out about this, who do you think they'll blame? Clotharia was blamed after they destroyed the Icarian homeworld. The way I see it, they can either claim that the Alliance can't protect the people they offer sanctuary to or claim you're responsible. Either way they win. I hate to say it, but if it was done by the Alliance, they could use the outrage to rally people to their banner. I doubt they could get their hands on a weapon like this, but that won't stop the conspiracy theories. We need to control the information before someone else does. Speaking of which, I've got more scan results coming in now. I'm getting bored standing around here, Callie complained. Can I start heading over to that tower yet? I wouldn't recommend getting anywhere near that cloud. Judging by these scans, that's not water vapor up there. It's a highly acidic compound. The electrical activity is increasing. It should reach critical levels fairly soon at this rate. Which means what? I could guess, but I'm still not sure what I'm looking at. Maybe another explosion, maybe it'll just rain death down on the survivors. I'm starting the feed. I'm going to stream the scan results and see if anyone out there can tell me what we're looking at. Callie looked down into the chasm in shock. Did you say survivors? No I didn't, he said nervously, they're all dead. There are no survivors. How many are there? She asked. You don't have time for that. You really need to worry about yourself and get clear of the area. Tell me. I'm only getting one signal, but it's large enough to be more than one person. It's all the way down at the bottom of that big hole. It's not worth the risk, and I doubt you could make it there in time, never mind there and back. Tell me where they are. Not a chance. It's too reckless. Callie sat down and unfastened the straps which held her old armored skirt in place. I'm telepathic. I can find them myself, but it would take more time. I'm going after them. With or without your help. Remember how you said that laughing keeps you sane. It's not working. What are you going to do? Just climb down? Who said anything about climbing? Callie scoffed. She spread out the cloth and began strapping it to her wrists and tails. Then how are you planning on getting down there? I'm going to jump. She yanked the communicator away from her ear and waited until he stopped screaming expletives at her. Pinky's listed as Stripe Inspector, right? Tyrell asked. Yeah, why? I'm going to send her the feed address. I'm hoping she can get you to listen to reason. I'm going to rescue those survivors with or without your help. You're insane. So, Callie said irritably, are you going to tell me where to find them, or not? She reached out with her mind and started searching for other consciousnesses. I'll take that as a no. Don't make me admit that I like having you around. I'm not going to help you kill your fool self. She carefully traversed a narrow ledge on the left side of the crevice as she narrowed in on the location of the survivors' mines. It's about 20 feet to the left, then 15 yards forward from there, he grumbled. If you're going to take a dive, turn on the AVN cloud first. I'm thinking the death of Lady Darkseid wouldn't be the best first broadcast. Sets the bar a bit higher than I'd like. Callie flipped open the box on her scabbard and activated the recording nanites. Just start the recording. I have something to say, Callie insisted. Tyrell said in defeat. I'm not talking you out of this, am I? Not a chance, Callie said, resolute. All set, Tyrell said solemnly. You're live. I am Lady Darkseid, Callie said in a voice full of fury. What you are seeing is all that remains of an Ark City core. It was meant as a refuge from the war. It was for people who had laid down their arms. What happened here was not an act of war or even an act of vengeance. It was the act of a butcher. I do not yet know who is responsible, but I will find out who they are. No matter where they hide, or who they are, I will find them. I will burn the old factions to ash and force them from their hiding places. I will not rest until the universe itself vomits up the people responsible for this atrocity, just so I can enjoy grinding them to dust under my heel. She stretched her brown tails over her shoulders and around her arms. Callie braced herself against the cliffside, gathered telekinetic force around herself, and propelled herself forward with the added assistance of her enhanced physical abilities. A small section of the cliff wall crumbled behind her as she launched herself forward. As her forward momentum began to give way to the downward pull of gravity, she extended her arms and tails, spreading the sheet of armored cloth taut. She called on the winds to hold her aloft as she began to glide toward her destination. Her fur stood on end. She could feel an electrical charge building around her. Her instinct screamed a warning deep within her just as the lightning struck.